Once upon a time in Johannesburg, there lived a young man named Ethan. Ethan had everything on paper. Good job, a small apartment in the city, and friends who seemed to care. But inside, he felt an emptiness he couldn't explain. Every night, he lay awake staring at the ceiling, replaying mistakes, doubts, and fears in his mind. No matter how hard he tried, he could not silence the chaos in his thoughts. He wanted peace, clarity, and purpose, but the harder he tried to find it, the more it slipped away. One evening, feeling completely trapped by his own mind, he came across a tiny old book in a second-hand bookstore. Its cover was worn, the pages yellowed, and it had no title. The shopkeeper, an elderly man with a knowing smile, whispered, "This book will show you how to empty your mind, but only if you dare to face yourself." Ethan hesitated, but curiosity and desperation won over. Little did he know, this choice would set him on a journey that would change everything. Ethan opened the book that night, and the first line made him stop cold. "To find freedom, you must let go of everything that binds you inside." He read on, but the words seemed to twist in his mind, almost mocking him. That night, he couldn't sleep, thinking about all the things he held onto. Old failures, bitterness toward friends, regret over decisions he couldn't undo. The next day, he tried to focus at work, but his mind wandered, dragging him into a spiral of anxiety. Then, he noticed something strange. People around him seemed lighter, happier, almost as if they had unlocked a secret he didn't know. Questions gnawed at him. Was there really a way to empty his mind? Could he ever feel free? That evening, driven by a mixture of fear and hope, he decided to follow the instructions in the book. The first step was terrifying. Ethan had to face the one thought he feared the most, his fear of being alone, of being insignificant. He sat in his apartment, lights off, silence pressing in, and let his mind wander to the darkest corners. Shadows of memories, mistakes, and regrets appeared, each one louder than the last. He wanted to run, to escape, but he stayed. Hours passed like days, and then something shifted. The thoughts started to lose power. They were still there, but they no longer commanded him. For the first time in years, he felt a quiet space inside, a pause where nothing threatened him. The days that followed were strange and exhilarating. Ethan began walking through the city differently. He noticed things he never had before. The rhythm of footsteps, the laughter of children in the park, the warmth of sunlight on his skin. People who once irritated him now barely registered. His mind, once a storm, felt like a calm river flowing steadily. But peace was not easy. Every time he felt it slipping, old fears surged back, demanding attention. One afternoon, while sitting in a cafe, he overheard a conversation about a man who had failed everything but found his way to happiness. Ethan felt a pang of doubt. Was he really changing, or was it just temporary? That night, the book gave him the next instruction. You cannot empty your mind once. It is a daily act of courage. Ethan realized that clarity was not a permanent gift. It was a practice, a choice he would have to make every day. And with that understanding came something deeper. Compassion. He saw his friends, family, and even strangers through a new lens, realizing that everyone carried their own invisible battles. His loneliness didn't vanish, but it became manageable, a companion rather than a cage. One evening, as Ethan walked through the city streets at sunset, he noticed a woman sitting alone on a bench, head down, eyes filled with worry. Something about her reminded him of himself not long ago. Without thinking, he sat beside her and said, "It's going to be okay. You might not see it now, but it will be." She looked up, surprised by the kindness in his voice, and for a moment, Ethan saw hope reflected back at him. He realized that emptying his mind wasn't just about himself. It was about creating space to help others. Each act of letting go gave him more freedom, and each moment of presence he offered to someone else deepened his own. Life was no longer about chasing perfection or avoiding pain. It was about walking forward, mindful of every step, and carrying the lessons of struggle and release. And though challenges would always return, He now had a choice: to be consumed by them or to observe, release, and move forward with courage. Months later, Ethan became someone people noticed, not for wealth, status, or power, but for the calm, thoughtful presence he carried. He began sharing his story quietly with friends and coworkers, then strangers, teaching the principle he had learned. The mind is like a crowded room, and to find peace, you must empty it of what weighs you down. The story of his own transformation spread slowly, touching lives in ways he never imagined. And each time someone thanked him for helping them see clarity in chaos, Ethan felt a deep satisfaction he had never known. He had learned the ultimate truth: true freedom is not found in avoiding thoughts or challenges, but in facing them, releasing them, and living intentionally. The world remained unpredictable, sometimes cruel, but Ethan's mind, once a prison, was now a space of power, clarity, and unshakable calm. The moral is simple yet profound. Your mind is your prison or your freedom. What you choose to hold on to can either weigh you down or lift you higher. Let go, empty your mind, and discover the life you were meant to live.